Yeah, so we're in do or die mode for No1CareThat. Their playoff hopes are on the line. And we have hotdogwater versus InTact coming up. Now, hotdogwater has been used for the ace. Um, so this is a tough match coming out for No1CareThat.
Definitely. I know InTact is really confident in his PVZ. He was like a B teamer that moved up to A team, and PVZ is definitely his favorite and strongest matchup, from what I know. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds like a good match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It should be noted too, like No1CareThat was down 3-1 last week and came up to force the ace match, and then went on to win it to, earn the right to face Team B still. See if they can do it again here.
Does history repeat? We
Yeah,
will
it's
find
definitely
out
possible.
here. Yeah, Aztec for the 5th match of the series. Hotdogwater versus InTact PVZ.
Yeah, this is said to be a little bit of a Zerg favorite map over Protoss as well, just because it's a 3-player map. Zerg can take more than half the map when it goes to that late game situation. Have more resources overall, but you can certainly do things to end the game before we get there. So.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most variable matches. There's just so many things that can happen. Just like through all stages of the game, even everything else is mirrors are obviously a little more limited, and a lot of the like PVT has a couple of paths, ZVT has a couple of paths, but this one is just like man, anything is possible.
There's a lot of shoutouts to the No1CareThat boys.
Hitting the beaches this week.
Classic No1CareThat.
Classic, just classic.
Yeah, but no, going on with what you said there, yeah, there's like a lot of power swings in this game, like or in this matchup. Like early on, Zerg kind of has initiative. They get the option of, okay, am I gonna cheese? Am I gonna play standard? Like there's a lot of different things that Zerg can do early on to kind of punish Protoss while they're getting their natural setup. But then the power kind of shifts to Protoss once they get their +1 out, their Corsairs or their Zealots, Speed Zealots. But if that attack does nothing, it shifts back to Zerg, and it's kind of like a back and forth like that throughout the whole game.
Right, and that's just the standard play,
Yeah.
There's also all the different things that either side can change that up with, and it just changes everything. So really excited to see what they opt for. We actually have a pretty fast pool coming out from Hotdogwater, and it is going to be scouted first from InTact. So he should be fine, but he will have to invest in those defenses. No playing greedy this game.
Yeah, so he's well aware of that. I'd expect to see him put down at least 2 cannons when his forge is down here.
Yep, and this wall on
the
Aztec isn't too bad, especially this position. So he should be fine in terms of stopping the Zerglings from getting in. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I don't know how many Zerglings Hotdog is going to make, especially since she knows it's been scouted now. It's possible that you just don't even opt for the Zerglings. And we are seeing the Overlord pop, and we have eggs popping, so that is probably Zerglings. And we have at least 6 coming out.
So I would expect InTact to make 2 cannons. Now, one thing, I don't think InTact usually makes a gateway in his walls. I remember him talking about that. Like, he'll just put the gateway in his main or somewhere else, so we'll have to see if he does that here or not.
That would probably be a mistake here, especially when you know the Zerglings are on the way. His scout is going to see that, and is going to try to kind of lure the Zerglings away to buy some time, but when he finds that that's not happening, he's just going to go back into the main and keep his scouting information up. This choke is just so big. 2 cannons are going to be up. They will be able to deal with this, but the gateway makes it so much stronger. And it looks like he's going to do it, but he's got the minerals. Where is the gate InTact? Where is the gate?
He's gonna just block the ramp with probes, and Hotdog seeing the 2 cannons is actually just gonna back out anyway.
Wow, so he's opting to go for the faster Nexus, it looks like, saving up 400 minerals. A bit risky. I mean, he wasn't at risk of dying necessarily, especially with the probe in the main and with the ramp blocked off. But if the Zerg makes a couple more Zerglings, they just get on top of these cannons, and all of a sudden you don't have a natural anymore. So playing it close, and speed is up, so that probe is killed immediately, and we have an expansion coming down from Hotdog. So things are equalizing to a more normal macro situation. Looks like 8 total Zerglings out, and a 3rd cannon. Interesting choice.
With the probe block too.
Yeah, probe's still on the ramp. So again, he can't die. but you know, just a couple of more Zerglings and all of these cannons can go down. Like, they're not that strong once they get collapsed on.
Mm-hmm. And we actually do see the gateway coming up here in the main, is the thing, so. No
Yeah,
gateway in the wall, interesting enough. I mean, it does leave him a lot more room to move out and maneuver when, you know, you get into that Dragoon army in the mid game, but...
See, that's just so abusable. You know, there's a reason that those walls get really tight. Oh wow, we have a cancel out from Hot Dog. So building a building, letting the scout see it, and once the scout goes down, immediate cancel just to kind of throw InTact off. So nice mind games there. You know, that kind of awareness. It's not only what the game is, but also what does my opponent know? What are they thinking? It's that kind of gameplay that you sort of start seeing show up in the 18 matches.
Yeah, definitely. But it looks like things are gonna like normalize a little bit. We'll have to see if what InTact does, having seen that canceled or not seeing that canceled building. If he makes some extra cannons, because I assume that was a Hydra Den. I didn't actually see what was going on there.
It was the size of a Hydra Den. I didn't get to click it. It was so fast.
Okay.
But an Evo chamber would be pretty weird. So I think that is accurate. And yeah, I mean, when you see that, you see a 3-hatch Hydra build with your scout, and you've seen an aggressive 9-pull, you have to be thinking that, you know, at least some Hydras are going to come. You don't know if it's a fake, if it's an all-in. Not a ton of drones were scouted at the natural either. I guess more than a full-on all-in, but he's already got 3 cannons. He might not overreact to this, and he's sending another probe, so he may even get a second scout out.
Nice move, I like that. You know, he may even say, okay, there's no Hydras on the way. Where are those Hydras? They should be, you know, on the way by now. And he's opting to not go for a Stargate at all. He's going straight into that Citadel. So.
Now, Hot Dog's going to see this probe en route. There are no Zerglings back at home, so you're going to have to pull the Zerglings at the front to try to chase this down. But they will not get there in time. InTact will be able to get into the main if he wants to, and he'll see that canceled building, he'll see the lair, and he will also see the spire.
So very nice scout by InTact. So now he knows, okay, you're trying to trick me, there's no Hydra on the way.
Yeah, and he caught that before investing in any more cannons. Now, he'd already invested into 3, which kind of puts you generally more behind from where you want to be. But if he had invested into more, that could have been a really big deal. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. One thing I am a little bit worried about, though, is if Hot Dog opts to go for Midas here. I mean, the Spire's done. We don't see any cannons in the mineral line. There's no pylon ready to build any cannons at the natural mineral line.
Yeah, it looks like he's realizing that now. We do see that pylon going down.
Yeah, he's going to have no Sares. So he's going to need to make some Templar and rely on Archons if Hot Dog opts to get some Midas here.
But at the same time,
like she is.
You know, he's got a decent amount of Zealots pulling up. +1 should be almost complete, and I would expect Legs to be almost complete as well. So that Zealot attack has the opportunity to delay those mutas and even do damage if the mutas don't find it in time. So yeah, he's got time to get those cannons up still.
Yeah, he is starting those cannons now too. And he's got a couple of Templar on the way. I expect he'll morph those into an Archon, seeing that there are mutas coming across the map here now.
Yeah, and it looks like there's 4 mutas now, a bunch of Zerglings as well. But that cannon is not quite ready. I mean, those Zealots really should have been pressuring to buy time for this, like I was trying to say. If these mutas really just pounce on that, they're going to be able to shut it down, and that's big. 1 muta actually flying into the 3 cannons, so that reinforcement muta goes down, but he can't control this mineral line anymore. All the probes have to run.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's a big hit to his economy. Just, you know, losing half his mining there. He does have an Archon out now that should be able to, you know, at least chase these mutas away a little bit. Get himself mining again from the natural. But,
the Hot Dog is actually not paying attention. That's a lot of hits on those mutas.
Yeah, one more hit and they would have killed all of them, I think. So.
Yeah, getting this really obnoxious position right here where they can hit the gas. And the Archon is barely... Oh wow, the Archon just clipped through. That is really weird. Can he get out of there?
I don't know. He picked off 2 of the mutas. I don't think the Archon can get out now. That was weird. He like clipped through the gas and now he's stuck.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because mutas do outrange Archons, and actually hotdogwater has hold positioned her mutas just at that range. So the Archon's gonna go down. This is crazy. No.
That's really unfortunate and weird how that happened, but oh no.
He like clipped through the gas mining probes. That was really strange.
Yeah, this poor Archon's just hanging out. He can't do anything just except death.
Wow. But that does buy enough time. He had enough health. There are cannons up, but the gas bounces are going to be continually doing damage to the probe line, to those cannons. Looks like InTact's just going to push out with one Archon and a bunch of Zealots. So the amount of mutas that are out, they can't deal with this Archon. And this could potentially do some damage, but I love the sim on both sides from hotdogwater. So it's going to be hard to find a good opening.
Yeah, she's got, I mean, those two Sunkens, Evo, Hatchery, or at the natural with the Hydra Den. It's so hard for Protoss to break into that without, ranged Dragoons being able to hit the outside wall before.
The only thing is, it's only two Sunkens. There is not a lot of units. I mean, she's got a bunch of Zerglings, but the Hydra pump has not started because, opted for a muta opening. These Hydra's actually in front of the wall, and if they get collapsed on, that could be real dangerous. Although maybe Hotdog was planning to do the Lurker trick here, and just Lurker egg these.
Possible that they're in position for that, but no.
Nope, they are going to get collapsed on, and the Zealots can get on top of these Sunkens, so really nice.
They do slip past, yeah.
Hotdog did target the one Archon. It looks like targeted the second Archon with the Sunkens as well. So both Archons are going to go down very quickly, which is a great move. And now it's just Zealots. But they can do a decent trade here, not killing any drones though.
He does manage to kill all the Sunkens, but Hotdog's going to clean this up without taking any more drone damage, it looks like. Or any drone damage.
Yeah, so that is a good defense. The Sunkens are not cheap, but Zealots aren't really either, so I think that works out in Hotdog's favor, just killing that army off. And we can see now the supplies are actually in Hotdog's favor. These two mutas are still here. They're no longer hitting the assimilator, but they're just kind of a threat that has to be dealt with. And Hotdog's also scouted the third from InTact, so lots going on, and I think InTact's going to have trouble defending all these positions soon.
Yeah, she tried inching the mutas forward, but they're still not attacking it. I guess she just doesn't quite have... No, she has vision. I don't know why they're actually not attacking.
They could have been, sometimes when you get aggroed on something out of your range, you're in a whole position. They're like trying to hit the cannon and they can't.
Ah, I gotcha.
Unit AI is pretty retarded.
Yeah.
There are plenty of cannons at this third, and there is a small handful of units coming up to defend. They really need to get up the ramp though. There's a lot of Hydra Lurk coming up here, and up ramp is going to be a much safer place for these units than down ramp. But it looks like they've actually missed their window. This could be really big. That's a lot of cannons to push up into though. Hotdog's going to take a lot of losses, and it's going to pull back. Wow, this is like the fake out move, just daring her to come up that ramp. Storms are okay, actually a lot on her own units. That third storm was great, catching most of the Hydras. But there's no observer here, and he's just hanging out on top of 4 lurkers.
Yeah, he's actually doesn't even have the robo done yet, so I think that's a bit late. It is almost done, but he still have to get the observatory up and actually start building some observers. And meanwhile, he lost his whole army on the map. All he has is a couple of goons and Archon morphing as far as army.
Yeah, that's one error. That's an error that a lot of players will make. Like, I see mutas, so I need to react to mutas, but there is always the potential for Zerg to switch it up, and you still need to get that robo out on time. Observers are still needed. So just because you saw mutas doesn't mean you can just omit that from your build. You just may delay it a little bit. But now we have a situation where he's only being held back by cannons. And he's actually adding another cannon just to make sure that that position doesn't go down. But it's not completely defended. With enough Zerglings here, you can absolutely take that down.
For sure. It is, I mean, although InTact is behind in supply, it's not the end of the world. He does have a third nexus, a third mining base. He's getting gas up. So he could still do some damage, make some moves. I'd like to see him try and do something a little more aggressive to get back in, maybe like some TT drops or storm drops or something, just to try and, slow Hotdog down a little bit, because she does definitely have the supply lead, not that he would know that, but making those kind of moves in general are very good, or things you want to do as Protoss to kind of slow the Zerg down, so before he gets too big, or she in this case.
Yep. Hotdog is going to be getting that 4th base mineral only up and running. Going to be able to drone that very quickly with the amount of hatches that she has. And we do have InTact trying to push through this lurker field. His observer is out, doing a decent job of it, losing a bunch of zealots, but not too bad. Just has a handful of goons to help out. and will kill all of the lurkers. So he's out on the map now. Hotdog's got great vision, Overlord spread all over, since we have a Corsair-less Protoss, you can absolutely get away with that. And I want to see InTact make a play. I think a DT drop would be great. Storm drops, all sorts of things where you don't have to necessarily fight the army head on head.
Oh, we actually have a Greater Spire here for Zerg as well and some mutas, so I think Hotdog's actually going to plan to morph a few Guardians and try and pick off this third base here of InTact. Actually, yeah, we do see a couple Guardians being morphed now.
Yeah, that's a great move.
Yeah, it could do a lot of damage. Like, he doesn't have anything here to help defend. No Templars, nothing, just those few cannons. So those Guardians are going to be able to do a ton of damage.
Yeah, and even if you have Templar, one storm doesn't actually kill a Guardian, especially if it's moved out. So you have to spend quite a few storms, and InTact doesn't have storms built up. Like, he hasn't just been sitting on Templar and not being aggressed on. He's been spending the few storms he's got. These two mutas that were harassing the gas are now Guardians as well, so that's going to be a couple storms used. And just no Corsairs, you open yourself up to this kind of play.
For sure. Yeah, without the presence of Corsairs, there's not a lot you can do. Like, these Guardians can just sit over these cliffs and pick off probes, pick off buildings. Like, there, that one just gets a pylon at his natural. Now he's not mining from the third either. So while he caught up in supply a little bit, he's still like behind. He's trying to take this low ground base here, another gas base. But the longer this goes on, he's not mining. He's continuing to take damage and not dealing with these Guardians. He's just getting further behind.
Yeah, and Hotdog has been doing a great job expanding while doing all of this as well. We have a Queen parasiting the Archon, so now there's vision of all over this army at all times. Unless you sacrifice the Archon and just like leave it in a corner, but you don't really want to do that. So, great moves out from Hotdog, just really taking control.
Yeah, Protoss needs something to get rid of parasites. Terran's got the medics,
That's why Protoss need the Terran. Oh, we have a massive push up here. There's not a lot of lurkers, mostly just Zerglings, and a decent storm actually kills the Observer, unfortunately. But I think there's just not quite enough.
Yeah, especially pushing up under the swarm, the Dragoons aren't able to do anything.
There's so many storms here, but unfortunately, since the army is not able to support it, a lot of these Templar are going to go down.
Yeah, that's almost too many Templar for the army. And he's got a couple more Templar rallying in behind that too.
Yeah, so he knows that he has to get something done. He's trying to be aggressive, but I think he's just too far behind to make it just a frontal attack like that work. This is the point where you really need to go into drops, where you really need to just like secure your own expansions, find bases like this to take out, but not push into the heart of the rally. There's just not enough strength to do that. And it still hasn't done with these Guardians.
Yeah, if he could take out that bottom base and get his 4 bases up and running again, like get rid of these Guardians that are still just hammering away, and then all of a sudden he's in a not terrible position. It's 4 base on 4 base again, but he actually needs to know about this base and kill it, and get rid of these Guardians, which he appears to be doing neither at the moment. So, a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, he chose the one path that just wasn't going to work because he's too far behind to go for that frontal assault. Now here, he could get some decent storms. It's hard to get lurkers in position in time. They are pretty clumped up, but he's going pretty hard. He's just sending his units in. Really would have liked to see him bleed this out with storms first, and I don't see an obs with this anymore. Yeah. So that is a lot of losses.
There's an ob at the front of his base, but it really needs to be with this army. I don't know.
Storm on top of the base even. So these lurkers need to be taken out or he's going to lose this base. Luckily he does have enough zealots to do it, but he's taking so many losses, just the threat of where these lurkers ended up.
Yeah, and he did lose that nexus there to those few Guardians at the top of the base, or top of the map there.
Yeah, just such a small army for a Protoss right now. Just been taking constant losses that he hasn't really. He could have avoided the first fight, but that push, Hotdog really forced his hand by getting right up on top of his Nexus. And these kind of trades favor Zerg very heavily when you have this base situation.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think that's just the main problem. And he was never able to really get a big, strong Protoss ball army. Hotdog did a good job of making sure he couldn't get this huge army out on the map and just kind of harassing him, denying this base. Like, there's even a couple of mineral. Oh no! Look at the natural. He's got a bunch of probes he's trapped behind that cannon too.
Oh, how long has that been going on?
Oh,
that's terrible. That's like 5 probes in there.
Manor cannoned himself. bit unfortunate again. Like, just a lot of unfortunate things happening to this Protoss, but
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
constant queen usage. I mean, there's so much vision for Hot Dog. She can see basically everything, the Overlord spread and the Parasite on the army. There's no way to even sneak a base, which is exactly what InTact was trying to do. Keeping tabs on where the army is moving lets her get defenses up in time. At this point, this base down here on the bottom has a Nidus and a couple of creeps, so that's going to be defended easily. And there's not much for InTact anymore. He needs to get the bases secured and get his army going, but every time Hot Dog's just meeting him in the middle and trading very well.
yeah, and every trade is just good for her at the moment. She's still continuing to take more bases while doing behind this, while InTact's barely holding on to what he's got. So he just keeps losing army after army. Meanwhile, this Guardian's still harassing at his natural, killing a few more probes. He did notice that and killed the cannon. Or maybe she killed the cannon that was trapping his probes, I'm not sure. But Hot Dog showing us why she's probably the best or one of the best players in the CPL.
This is pretty strong, man. I mean, I saw the initial games. People were like, "You should watch out for this hot dog water," and it wasn't beyond CPL level, but she's leveled up. This is really good stuff. InTact is just really hasn't had any breathing room at all game, and now we have a massive fight. Which again, Hot Dog doesn't even have to win this fight. Just killing some storms off, killing some zealots, just trading units away is fine. And I think this is kind of the last ditch effort from InTact. He's not even mining at this point, really. He's got just the one base here, which doesn't have that many patches and is really exposed. Like, at any time, Zerg can come from one side and just one swarm a couple lanes, this base is dead. So this is his last ditch effort, and even if he kills one of these bases, Hot Dog's got the whole bottom half. This is almost unwinnable at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to do enough. He's gonna just have to make a push and try something, but like you said, I don't think it's gonna be enough. And I don't think InTact's played a particularly bad game. I mean, he made some good moves here, but Hot Dog just, a step above, right?
Yeah, just capitalizing on everything. Just really playing well into, no Corsairs, playing the mind games, executing well. But I completely agree. I think the game out from InTact was just fine, but Hot Dog is just completely controlling every step of this game.
Yeah, for sure. A couple random Guardians just hitting at the army here, picking off a Templar perhaps.
Yeah, there's really almost nothing he can do because he doesn't want to use his storms. So there's one actually gets him clumped up, so that was a nice catch out. But is this kind of thing like, the value that Hot Dog gets out of every little unit is tough to deal with.
For sure. I mean, look, you can see it in the supplies now too, how this game has gone. Like, Protoss is 50 supply behind the Zerg at this point. So while this army might look a little big for Protoss and scary, it might be if this was, still 12 minutes into the game. But the fact that it's 20 minutes into the game and the Zerg is way ahead in supply, there's nothing really the Protoss is going to be able to do.
Yeah, like, it's a strong army out from Protoss, generally speaking. It's not very high tech, it's a lot of zealot. But the problem is that Zerg can make an army to match this army, every minute. And once this army dies from Protoss, it's not coming back. This is all that InTact's going to get. So
yeah,
it's kind of a runaway freight train. The Zerg is unstoppable at this point, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, like, the Protoss is just about to mine out. He's on his last mining base, and there's only, just over 1,000 minerals left there. He does have one probe at his natural. I mean, he could definitely mine from that still, but he can't replace his army. I mean, Zerg could kill this Protoss army and instantly replace all their losses, while Protoss would need a long time to replace this army. So.
And I kind of like the patience out from Hot Dog too. Just securing bases, making the Protoss come to her positions rather than trying to attack into this and getting stormed, really badly. Because
yeah, for sure.
she knows, like, she doesn't have to go kill Protoss anytime soon. She's gonna just keep getting further and further ahead.
Yeah, she knows she's got Protoss contained to these couple of bases while she has half the map.
Oh, putting out the plagues as well, so this zealot heavy army is just losing most of its health. And when the fight actually happens, it's going to go down so fast. Looks like InTact has had enough. He's going to try to push up this main ramp. There are swarms waiting for him, but there's not a lot of units here yet. So he is going to be able to get this position at least. but will he be able to do any damage? Look, a bunch of Hydras popping right here, and there's units all over. Hotdog's gonna take the opportunity to counterattack at the one mining base, and again, even if InTact takes this base out, he's still not in a winning position, so he's got to win this fight and win it really well.
And he's gonna lose a base here too.
Yeah, reinforcements coming in from all sides, and this is the true Zerg swarm now. Not a lot Protoss can do here, and there is the GG. Well played from both players. Hotdog showing how scary she is, but well played out from InTact. And with that, that's going to be the 4-1 win for Team Beast over No1CareThat. Yeah, there was a 6-game slated to be played between Telecom and Troop, but Telecom opted not to play it. So that's all the games we're going to have today. But that is Team Beast moving on to play Chobos with Attitude in the playoff finals for CPL Season 3.
Yeah, it should be a pretty exciting grand finals too. You know, they were the top 2 teams going into the playoffs. Chobos has been sitting a couple weeks, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. The records, just general match records for Chobos is a lot better, but both teams have a lot of good players, and they have pretty deep fields. You know, I think some of these teams have, 1 or 2 really strong players in the A or B team, but both of those teams have a lot throughout the team, so I think we can get a really good 6-match set going on here. Yeah.
Speaking of which, we'll be releasing, maps and stuff for that shortly after this cast. I'll get to work on that, so teams can, figure out their lineups and let me know as soon as possible. We can get those up, and people can figure out who they're playing and get those games played for the finals.
Awesome. Finals hype, guys. We made it. Season 3 is coming to an end. Snipe and I and a couple of the other players have been talking about things to be doing after this, so stay tuned for all sorts of announcements. Season 3 will be coming, but in the interim there will be some planning phases, probably have some cool events, so just stay tuned for all of that info. But in the meantime, if you are on Chobos or Team Beast, get ready for that final match, get a week of prep. We'll have those lineups up shortly, and everyone just get hyped.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely.
See who can take it down.
This has been some cool stuff. We have some cool storylines. I'm eager to see who's gonna match up and what kind of stuff we can expect. So
yeah, for sure.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Snipe, for joining me once again, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for tuning in and playing and participating in the league. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Yeah. See ya.